Hey there, Charles from Chuck Rack here. I'm going to teach you how to assemble the Chuck Bucket full tilt base post. It's very similar to the standard post, so just follow the instructions in this video and you should be good. So one thing to note is that all of the heads of these bolts are going to be either 5/8 like this or 17 millimeter. In this setup, typically they're 5/8. So if you have 5/8 wrenches, it should be pretty easy to just use that. Basically start with all of the parts from your full tilt base post like this. First thing you're going to want to do is locate the part that's got this bolt. That means it's got the spring nut in there. And we are going to carefully unscrew this guy to make sure that the spring nut does not move. Might take a little bit because the nut is in there and you gotta unthread it completely. All right, there we go. You can see the spring nut in there just like that. So next thing you're going to do is you're going to look at your lower part of your base post, and you've got one section that has two close holes and another section that has two further holes. You're going to want the closer ones. So keeping the spring nut in place, slide it through until it's aligned, and then you're going to screw this in until it's extra tight. I'm going to use a wrench. Okay, so tighten that till it's nice and tight, and then you're going to want to put your nut on with no washer on this one. Just like that. Now the kit also comes with this shim that you could use in between these posts. Most of the time you don't need it, but some people had asked for it, so we started to include them. You just need to be careful, because if you use this shim in between these two and you start hammering them together, if you go too far, it's going to be a bit of a pain, because you're going to have to put something up the end of this to then hammer it back out. So most of the time, for most customers, we say just don't bother and use the spring nut that's already in here, and that's the best fit. But you can hang on to this if you want it. So once you've got that done, then next part you're going to put in is the secondary bolt. I like to make sure that all the bolts are on the same side, or the heads of the bolts. If you're using a full tilt system, and you need to tilt it all the way flat, then you will put this bolt here. And if you just are only planning on tilting it back halfway, then I prefer to use this bolt here. This will set the height of your Chuck Bucket. So you just put it through, add your nut, and then tighten it down with the wrenches you have, or if you have your own wrenches, you can use those too. All right, once you've got that base post assembled, then we can work on this next part. Lay it down. You're going to put all your bolts in. There we go. Just like that. Lay it down. Look for your base post. You want the bolt up high, or hitch stud rather. Okay. Then with Chuck facing towards the back, put that down on top. Just like that. Washer, washer, Oh, I almost forgot. You actually want to have this guy underneath that one. Yep. There we go. Then you want to add this to secure things in place. And then tilt it up and start tightening from the bottom up. And you tilt it up in order to make sure that everything stays nice and aligned. So you want to start with the bottom. Okay. Then you're going to work your way along just like that. So the bottom two you want to have extremely tight. So tighten those up real nice. And then this one you only want to be as tight as you need for it to hinge. With some friction. So you can loosen it. Oh, needs a little bit more. So I'll put this back in. There we go. That's a good amount. And then you just want to tighten these up so that they aren't spinning. Just like that. If you over tighten it, it's going to pinch and it won't be able to go all the way down. So right now that's good. And then the last one. And again, if you over tighten this, it's going to pinch here and not be able to move, but it looks like it's good. So now this should feed through easily, which it did. Last part. Is the dog bone lock. Tighten this real tight. Add your washer. Feed it through. Add your other washer and the ball. And then tighten it nice and tight so it won't go anywhere. And it's supposed to slide. So it slides down to keep it from moving. And then you lift it in order to get it in the groove. When you go to tilt the rack, first position. And then fully tilting. And then it'll just keep moving all the way down, back into position, and you'll want to make sure you put that guy back in. And that's it. Now your base post is fully assembled. Insert it in your hitch, put the hitch key through, and then loosen up this anti-wobble bolt a little bit in order to get this ball to drop down. And then once it's in there, you can tighten it up and it will remove all the slop. Thanks.